When I was in high school, I had this teacher, Mr. Mulvaney, and he asked us, do you know what a Buddha is? And I don't really, and I don't think he did either, but he explained, a Buddha is a big fat guy, and that big fat guy is inside all of us. And he just wants to be seated all the time with his big fat face and his big fat gut, which you can't see, and inside all of us is a Buddha telling us to be lazy, to just not do anything, to sit there and watch Netflix or play video games or do whatever and do nothing. And he says, inside all of us exists that Buddha, and you need to kick the Buddha. You got to kick the Buddha, and you got to do your thing. So, I'm going to kite my glider. It's 96 degrees out right now. I don't want to kite my glider. There's a bunch of reasons. I worry that it's not particularly compelling video footage because you guys have seen it 8 times already. I think it's too hot. I'm sure everybody gets too hot, but I feel like I especially suck more than most people at dealing with too much heat. And it's 96 degrees out right now, but there's a breeze and it's a good day to kite. And what I want, which is to fly, isn't going to happen unless I work for it. So here I'm going to go out in the sun. I'm going to sweat a bit. I'm going to take advantage of this breeze, and I'm going to practice kiting my glider. I can't achieve my goals unless I put my work in. You know, I subscribe to this motivation subreddit, and you know, the guys on it sometimes are like, hey, you know, don't you find your motivation like wears out, like it expires? You see something, it's motivating, and then it's not anymore? And the reply was enlightening to me. The guy goes, yeah, motivation wears out. That's the thing about it. That's why you have to refill it daily. And I thought, like maybe my vlogs can be one of the things that, you know, works towards refilling motivation. Not every day, but you know, it'd be nice. I would love it if I had some sort of motivating impact on the world. That'd make me feel good. Let's work.
No way! You're kidding! No way! Leave it out, mate! No! I don't wanna go, I don't wanna go! No! No! I don't wanna go, I don't wanna go, I don't wanna go, no! Don't wanna go, I don't wanna go, I don't wanna go, no! No, mate! No, mate! I don't wanna go! No, mate! Don't wanna go!
Spend the whole week waiting for the weekend. Go out and celebrate.
So that was pretty successful, if not tiring. You probably couldn't see most of it, but I actually launched the wing by the golf cart, ran all the way down there, like to near the guest house, with it, you know, called like a forward launch, just sort of running. And then I used the wind to kite it all the way back instead of, you know, picking it up and carrying it, which is I don't know, it's a sign that you can control your wing. I think I'm gonna play around with the motor for a bit. No reason this can't be fun. I barely gave it any throttle. It scares me a little bit. God, I love my golf cart. I'm so happy I'm not carrying all this stuff right now. It's hot. Well, I'm glad I got out there. You know, even if I didn't get massively better today, then you know, at the very least, I didn't get worse. I stopped the rust from coming. I spent some time with the motor on my back, some time under the wing. I've got these goals, and you have to touch them every day to make that happen. Which reminds me, many of you are probably wondering where the stable is. There's been a little bit of work done to the stable. Here, let's go. I'll show you. So here, this is where we are, right? This door had bowed. It started to like come out like that. And because of that, it didn't slide open. It still looks bowed, doesn't it? Like, see this gap compared to the gap at the bottom? But We had to get it fixed because this door wasn't sliding open very well. Motherfucker! I don't know if I'd call that fixed. I mean, it slides, but Jesus Christ. That's just not fixed. I mean, here. I'll show you. I'm trying to get this on video. So disappointing. All right, so I'll have to show that to my contractor. But the bigger thing, the floor that I'm sure many of you are wondering about, not done yet. The reason is you can't apply the epoxy if it's going to be over 90 degrees. So I have to pick the right day and then blast it out. Excuse me. It's a big enough job. My wife comes home Wednesday, so, you know, it might make sense for me to have Jackie and Hope, like, even if there is a day coming up very soon that I could do this, maybe it makes sense to have the whole team help me instead of me trying to knock out like 2,000 square feet of floor, which is a lot. All right, I'm going to wrap up today's vlog with a word or two about the tragedy that happened in Orlando. As I make this, hey buddy, as I make this, it has happened last night. The details are still coming in, and sometimes I can be clumsy when I talk about things like this, so just know that I come from a good place. I've always thought the goal of terror was to strike fear in the hearts of people, you know, to get them to bow down to your will. And for me anyway, terror can be pretty ineffective. I don't worry that if I go to a nightclub, someone's going to shoot it up, right? I don't worry when I go to the airport or the mall or things like that. I guess I'm math oriented enough that I know that it's really unlikely. Terrorism, if your goal is to get me to be terrorized, then you know, that's not working. But I do have my fears, and I fear my government's reaction to this thing. I'm more concerned that there's somebody at the NSA who feels like he finally has the fuel to turn on the Kinect cameras on everybody's Xbox One. I fear that there's someone at the CIA who's, you know, just desperately excited about turning on your webcams or recording your phone calls or eavesdropping on every email, or like, I worry that this will be the catalyst to start invading privacy and taking away rights that maybe somebody out there in government was thirsting to do. I do recognize that there's some kind of balance to be struck here. You know, you can't handcuff your police force and still expect them to keep you safe. I get that. But my reaction from the terrible tragedy that happened in Orlando is, let's take a breath. Let's take a breath. Let's gather our facts. You know, I see people arguing the Second Amendment on the internet while the bodies are still warm. I see people arguing, you know, privacy and stuff like I am right now. And, you know, God, my heart goes out to the people who were hurt in this thing. Like I think I said at the start, 50 people died. That's huge. There's 53 more injured. I don't know what those injuries are, but if there's somebody clinging to life, that first number could go up. It's ridiculous. It looks like it was a guy who was kind of a, you know, ISIS is not that organized a group, but he pledged his fealty to ISIS on the phone right beforehand. That might turn out to be inaccurate. I don't know. But you know, it's from the internet. So what do you make of that? But yeah, it appears to be some sort of terrorist attack on us, specifically on a gay nightclub. That was part of his motivation, I've read. Let's take a breath, take a beat, and not react to this thing too quickly. Because, you know, I was a grown-up when 9/11 happened. And when I look at the reaction to it, it's pretty extreme. You know, Homeland Security got started. The screenings at the TSA are outrageous at this point, according to me. They started doing things that experts call security theater. You know, they look into your stuff. Not that that would ever catch a problem. It just makes you feel like they're looking into your stuff. I'm not a big fan of security theater. Anyway, some of the rules they invoked for 9/11 in an effort to catch terrorists have been invoked against all sorts of other crimes, a lot of it being drug dealing. And, you know, that concerns me. If they're going to rewrite the rules of search and seizure because of this, then I worry that people are just not trying to stop this, but trying to expand their power. That's my biggest fear. My biggest fear is not some jackass terrorist. My biggest fear is that they will use this jackass terrorist as an excuse to expand their power and to reduce our privacy and our rights. So, yeah, maybe you have your own opinions, leave a comment, I don't know. But, yeah, again, my heart goes out to the victims and the victims' families, and I get how much, I get how terrible this is. I get it. I hope that our response doesn't make it even worse.
Multi-million-dollar deals got $1 million deal. When I was younger, I would wonder how $1 million feel. And for real, it feel like I ain't even broke a seal. Cause when you drop hits, they want you to pick up the bill. Now my life is in Maryland, my heart is in Chicago. New York State